I learned not to fall because no one would come back to lift me. The first time I asked for help, I was met with hurry. The second time, silence. The third, I understood. Those who cry too much become a burden, and burdens are left behind. So I became light. Too light. Invisible even. I learned to hide pain between one smile and the next, to look strong with a chest in ruins, to be reliable even when I was shattered inside. I became the one who holds it all, the one who handles things, the one everyone runs to when their world collapses, but who never finds a place to collapse themselves. There were days I wished I would faint in the middle of the street, just so someone would notice I existed without fixing anything. But I never fainted. I endured. Because asking is dangerous. Because weakness scares people. Because I was trained to earn love by being useful, steady, soft, until strength became skin. And now, I can't tell where the armor ends and I begin. I only know it's cold. Too cold in this place where everything collapses inside me, but nothing is allowed to fall, and it still hurts because I only learned how to be loved when I'm whole. But I never was. Being the strong one became my specialty, the one who solves things before anyone asks, the one who anticipates disaster and offers solutions in the same breath, the one who listens to everything, absorbs everything, fixes everything, but vanishes the moment they try to speak for themselves. I learned to diagnose everyone else's pain with surgical precision, but could never name my own without feeling weak, dramatic, or ashamed. I slipped into this role quietly, without noticing. The emotionally mature one, the stable one, the grown-up, the one who doesn't complain, the one who cannot break. And the more I performed that part, the more people expected it from me. They forgot that I also needed, that I also ached, that I too was once someone's child even if no one treated me like one. I became the emotional foundation of everyone around me, the unofficial therapist, the dependable support, the anchor. And even when my own anchor was sinking, I pretended to float, because no one expects the rock to crumble. No one wants to see the caretaker collapse. Being the strong one became my identity. But identity built on the denial of need is just another form of abandonment, self-inflicted this time. And maybe that's why I feel so alone, even surrounded by people. I'm never there as myself, only as the one who holds it all. I used to dream that my house collapsed while I was still inside, and no one noticed. I screamed for help, but no sound came out. My arms reached through the rubble, but they were transparent. I watched people walk by, staring at the ruins, saying, "It's incredible how strong they are, still standing after all that." But no one saw that I was still in there, trapped, whole on the outside, silently sinking on the inside. I'd wake up drenched in sweat and panic, and still show up to work like nothing happened, because that's what I do. I act fine, I put on the right clothes, I deliver. But inside, I'm still under that roof, holding up beams that were meant to be shared. I've become a specialist in holding up collapsing structures in silence. The house became a body. The body became a burden. The burden became routine, and the routine became theater. And in that theater, pain has no place. Only performance, only function, only availability. But every time I'm alone, the dream returns. The dust, the silent screams, the eyes that don't see. Because symbolic truth doesn't fade. It repeats trauma in image, and mine is simple. No one saw I was still inside, imploding in slow motion because I got too good at looking intact. I created versions of myself that don't feel, they just function. I learned how to smile at funerals, to say I'm good while my soul begged for rescue. I mastered the art of disappearing emotionally while seeming completely present. I became an expert at not being a burden, at not needing, at not taking up space, because I learned too early that being a burden meant being left behind. So I became a solution, a silence, a stable presence for others, even when I was chaos inside. And every time the pain tried to surface, I stayed busy. I cleaned the house, replied to emails, fixed everyone else's crisis. I gave before I noticed myself, I erased myself before I could even exist. The inner noise was drowned in productivity, in caretaking, in control, and no one noticed, because I was good at it, unbelievably good at seeming alive. But I was only performing, not living. I was maintaining the illusion of emotional self-sufficiency. With every compliment, something inside me shrank, because I knew they weren't praising who I was. They were thanking me for not being a weight. I've performed lightness for so long, I no longer know what it feels like to rest in someone's arms. I've unlearned how to be carried. It still hurts because I became a role so well played I forgot the name of the character I wrote to survive. It hurts because I became an expert in not being a burden, and now I don't know how to exist without earning space. It hurts because every time someone asks, "Are you okay?" I feel rage. Not at the question, but at how deeply I wish I could say no. How loudly I scream inside for someone to insist, to see past the performance. But no one does. Because I became a master at hiding, and now I'm surrounded by people who love my disguise but don't know my actual body. It hurts because to this day I'm stuck in the emotional childhood of someone who had to justify being loved. It hurts because the child I was is still kneeling in front of the mirror, trying to understand what they did wrong to be left behind. And I grew up trying to compensate. With perfection, strength, control, presence. But really, I just wanted to be held. Just wanted to fall without being punished. Just wanted to be someone who could collapse and still be loved. And I still can't. Because everything in me was trained to deserve love, not to receive it for simply being here. When I look closely, I realize this strength that traps me isn't just mine. It has my father's voice saying weakness is a luxury for those who don't have bills to pay. It wears my mother's face, swallowing tears in the kitchen while still serving dinner, like nothing inside her was cracking. It smells like the house where no one asked how you felt, only if you did your chores, got good grades, stayed out of trouble. I grew up learning that love came with performance, that being loved was a privilege for those who didn't make things harder. So I became functional before I became human. I inherited this logic like a broken altar and kept lighting candles out of loyalty. I carry on my back the pain of people who also never got to rest, who also lived to serve, to endure, to hold it all, who were children acting like adults, never learning how to fall. And now I play the same role, flawlessly, even as it consumes me. Because part of me believes that if I stop, I dishonor their effort, as if healing is betrayal, as if resting means forgetting their suffering. I became loyal to a grief I didn't choose, and didn't even realize that loyalty was just another kind of wound. The strength that once protected me slowly turned into the thing that exiled me. Today I can handle anything, except the feeling of belonging. I listen like no one else, but feel completely unseen even in my closest moments. I'm admired for being dependable, stable, mature, but no one knows what that costs. It costs sleepless nights. It costs swallowing cries for help with a smile. It costs missing real connection out of fear of being too much. Because every time I get close to someone, that old voice returns. Don't be heavy, don't scare them, don't show too much. So I shrink. I adjust. I show up, useful, composed, but never whole. The price of strength is this quiet place where everyone leans on you, but no one sees you sinking. Where breaking down is not allowed because you're the one who holds things together. And so, little by little, you vanish from yourself. You disappear emotionally to keep fitting the image of someone who always copes. The most tragic part? It works. People stay, but only near the version of you that performs strength. The real you, the one beneath the surface, stays lonely, even surrounded by love. When pain couldn't find space in my voice, it moved into my body. First, it was exhaustion with no explanation. Then, aches that arrived without cause. Tension in my shoulders like I was holding up a collapsing ceiling, and in many ways I was. Sleepless nights as if rest were unsafe. A stomach that clenched every time I swallowed another feeling. And doctors found nothing. No tests showed what I needed to hear. That my body was screaming everything I've been silencing for years. My body started to break down in place of my spirit, as if saying, "If you won't stop by choice, I'll stop you by force." I ignored it, took pills, pushed through, because that's what I do. But now I understand. The body doesn't want punishment. It wants witness. It wants me to pause, to notice, to feel, to finally acknowledge the pain I buried just to stay acceptable. Every symptom is a fragment of emotion that never got spoken. And maybe healing doesn't mean making it go away. Maybe healing begins by listening. Because maybe, for the first time, my body just wants to be believed. I am not strong. I am conditioned. Conditioned to earn love by being light, to avoid burden so I'm not left behind, to smile with a body in ruins so I don't scare those I love, to ask for little, to be useful, to be silent, to hold the whole world with clenched teeth and a twisted spine. I'm not an example. I'm a consequence. The consequence of a childhood where care came with guilt, where vulnerability was weakness, where presence was a prize, not a right. And the cruelest part is that it worked. I became exactly what was expected of me. I just don't know how to return, but now I see. This strength protected me, but also isolated me. And as long as I remain only the one who endures, I will always be surrounded, but never touched, always needed, but never held. The armor became my identity, and the price is not knowing how to be loved without fixing something. If this resonates with you, comment. I also became strong so I wouldn't be left behind. This is not just a comment. It's a ritual of recognition. Like if you know this silence. Share with someone who smiles to survive. Subscribe to stay with those who carry too much and break in silence. Maybe your fall is the first step to becoming whole again.